I turn now to Andrew. How would you as Mayor develop a different kind of relationship with Wellington?
Well, there are two Wellingtons. There's the political Wellington and there's the bureaucratic Wellington, and we have to consider both. In terms of the political side of Wellington, one of the big fears I've always had is that local government in New Zealand and here in Auckland, with a third of the population, could end up being very much politically controlled and politically driven. And I don't know whether it's a healthy thing in this country that 1/3 of the country, the city of Auckland, could end up being under the control of a particular wing of government. We've seen this in the UK, cities controlled by political parties. It's not necessarily a good thing. Therefore, I am standing as a truly independent mayor. I have always been an independent councillor and community board member, and I have an independent voice. It doesn't always rub well with certain people, but I say it as it is. I call a spade, and I talk about the issues on the basis of the issues, not on the basis of any political philosophy. Now, in terms of this, I have worked with the previous Labor government very, very well, and I worked well with Helen Clark. To her credit and to Chris Carter's credit, we sorted out the Albany Senior High School problem that had been festering for years and years and years. Again, I took mayoral leadership, worked with the Prime Minister, worked with the government, we sorted it out. When the new government came into play, we also worked with the new government to have Whenuapai stopped once and for all and to call it an air base for the next 10 or 15 years and not a commercial airport. I also have worked with the government in terms of in recent times you will have noticed the Millennium Institute, $40 million expansion, working with Murray McCully. It's been a great partnership working with the government. Also the National Ocean Water Sports Centre in Takapuna. But at the same time last year I was prepared to also go into bat on behalf of the people of Auckland and the people of New Zealand, in fact, on the leaky homes issue. While many of my counterparts were prepared to roll over for 10% and take the 10% offer, I said, no way, Jose. 25% from government, 25% from local government, and the other 50% from the householders was the only deal that I could see that was fair and equitable, that was workable. It was interesting that all my other colleagues finally did come around to that same 25-25, and that's what we got. A lot of people said that I was very hard on that bargaining and hard in that position, but I knew what was right and I knew what we had to get. Now, in terms of the civil servants, I've also worked very well with all the ministries in Wellington, and I have not been scared to get on a plane and go down and talk to chief executives, to talk to chairmen of some of those ministries and various people, to say to them, we have got a problem here, we want to sort it out, how can we sort it out? I've taken my chief executive with me to Wellington, and we've done it very, very successfully. And the other part of all this, and you raised about the trade and you raised about investment, the future for Auckland has got to be that Auckland needs to be a prosperous city where there are job opportunities and there's business growth. Now, I've been a Trade Commissioner for the last 10 years, the Belgium Trade Commissioner here in New Zealand. I've been in the Consular Corps. I have very close connections through the whole of the Auckland Consular Corps and indeed with the diplomats in Wellington. Very, very good respect from them and likewise towards them. I have a business background from 30 years of international trade. So what I want to do is, in terms of Wellington, I look at it in three ways. It's the making sure the civil servants are working with us to spend the $18 billion odd that the central taxpayers spent in Auckland. We want to make sure that $18 billion is wisely spent in conjunction with the city to make sure that the rollout of the taxpayer funds in Auckland works with the city funds that are rolling out in Auckland. We also want to make sure that the politicians are on the same wavelength and that we don't have our MPs floating around Auckland not contributing. So again, I would be a mayor that would want to make sure those MPs are coming in and absolutely singing from the same hymn sheet as we are to get the results for Auckland. And the third thing is, let's make this international. This will be an international city. Let's work with all our partners. We have so many immigrants in the city. We have so many people who are second and third generation from so many countries overseas. Let's all work together, work with our ties, work with our trade connections, work with our Ministry of Foreign Affairs connections, and let's really make Auckland a growth city with prosperity that we can say, now we can afford to do some of the things that we need to do because we are growing the economy of Auckland.
Fine, thank you very much indeed. A question for Andrew. No, I'm going to move very quickly on because I'm very conscious of time. Thank you, Andrew. Next is Simon, Wellington.
I noticed up there that someone said that Simon Press had a very good speechwriter. Yes, he does. It's me. I run a lean, mean team. This is all my own original material. Now, I believe that the Mayor is Auckland's ambassador, as I said, the face and voice of Auckland in the 21st century. Around the region, around the country, and on the world stage, the Mayor must represent the city with grace, respect and style, and he must put Auckland on the map. Penny, my apologies. My apologies. The candidate. He or she must put Auckland on the map for all the right reasons. The Mayor is also Auckland's advocate. He or she must present the case for Auckland completely, coherently, and compellingly. I did this constructing the Auckland Theatre Company. I was working at the Mercury the night it closed, and we were thrown out on France Street, and it became the mission of my life to restore professional theatre to Auckland. That entailed dealing with local, regional, and in this point, crucially, central government. And let me tell you, secretly, that extorting money out of Wellington for the arts in Auckland was the sweetest money of all. If central government policy on any issue doesn't work for a third of New Zealand's population, it must be a priority to alert and to work in close partnership with central government to resolve the matter. To achieve our social, economic, environmental and cultural well-being, to realise our shared vision, we must work in close and constructive partnership with local MPs and central government, identifying and presenting Auckland's priorities in an accurate and consistent way. Now, to achieve this goal, I propose 12 council portfolios to serve the needs of Auckland, each compatible with the central government portfolio. Transport, water services, tourism and major events, social development, economic development, environment, art and culture, sport and recreation, urban design and development, including heritage and waterfront, youth affairs, administration, property and investment, and consumer services. I believe that the principle of collective responsibility should apply to the Council, who should meet as a cabinet in each clearly defined area of responsibility, transparency. Aucklanders will be able to put a face to a name, accountability. Advisory panels will support each portfolio, and the Mayor and the Council will be in constant communication with their respective local board members and will oversee the operation of any respective council-controlled organisation. Auckland's prosperity is inextricably linked to the country's prosperity. Therefore, it's in the interests of all New Zealanders that relations between Auckland and Wellington are frequent, fruitful, and actually bear fruit. As important is Auckland's independence. The Mayor cannot be a mere political lapdog. He serves no other master than the people of Auckland. The line between collusion and collaboration must be clearly drawn and scrupulously observed. Through informed, close and cordial dialogue, Auckland and Wellington can and must work in partnership to achieve progress and deliver on the dream. For more, go to simonpress.com.
Fine, thank you very much indeed.